Qin Ming forced himself to swallow. So, most of them are only around 12 or 13 years old? Flender nodded. Qin Ming glanced over each of the Shrek 7 devils and smiled bitterly. Now I understand why you wear masks. You've given me too many surprises. I always thought the Huangdo battle team had good talent, but compared to you, they're nothing. If they were the same age, they wouldn't stand a chance. Flender didn't respond, just smiled at his students. The students of Shrek Academy were his greatest achievement, both Qin Ming and the Shrek 7 devils. Dai Mubai asked, Senior, if I may ask, what level of spirit power are you at now? Qin Ming replied subconsciously, level 62. I've been lucky. The Shrek 7 devils exchanged glances, remembering Flender's wise saying. Shrek Academy only accepts monsters, not ordinary people. All right, enough flattery. Little monsters, sit down and order whatever you like. Today, your stingy dean will be generous. Don't hold back, Zhao Wuji loudly called to the Shrek 7 devils, looking at the pleased Flender. Flender's smile stiffened, while the Shrek 7 devils cheered and immediately called a waiter, ordering without holding back. Ma Hongjun grabbed the menu first, flipped through it, and pointed to a few dishes, signaling the waiter to take note. Flender, standing beside Ma Hongjun, felt proud seeing his disciple order the cheapest dishes. He thought, not bad, truly my student, saving me money. But Ma Hongjuan's next words brought him from heaven to hell. Forget those dishes. Bring everything else on the menu. Large portions. And 2 barrels of the finest ale. Quick, Ma Hongjun finished the task, not giving anyone else a chance to order. Turning to Flender, Ma Hongjun asked, Teacher, why is your face turning green? Didn't sleep well last night. Qin Ming kept his composure, but Zhao Wuji laughed heartily. Flender's stinginess was well known among the teachers. Qin Ming's expression returned to normal, smiling, Dean, let me pay for this meal. After all these years, I finally returned. Teachers, please give me the chance to thank you for your guidance. Without you, there would be no Qin Ming today. Zhao Wuji laughed. Xiao Ming, you're still so considerate. I wanted to see Flender bleed money, but now I won't. Flender's face improved at Qin Ming's offer. He glared at Zhao Wuji. Enjoying my embarrassment? All right, Zhao, we haven't sparred in a while. Let's practice when we get back to boost our spirit power. Zhao Wuji couldn't laugh anymore. He knew Flender's strength too well. As a power-type spirit master, he had no advantage over Flender, a sensitive attack and flying spirit master, who had 2 levels more spirit power. At their level, each level of spirit power was a significant difference. Qin Ming looked at the seated Shrek 7 devils, his gaze lingering on Tang San, Dai Mubai, and Zhu Qing. What a pity. If you weren't from Shrek, I'd try to get you into the Royal Academy. With you, who knows? Before he finished, a familiar voice interrupted. Even if they're from Shrek, you can still bring them to the Royal Academy. Everyone turned to see the master entering, unceremoniously sitting beside Flender. Qin Ming cautiously asked, Master, what do you mean? Before the master could reply, Flender interjected, Are you here to sabotage me, master? These kids belong to Shrek, now and forever. Can't we give them a good education at Shrek? The master, unfazed by Flender's outburst, replied calmly, I never said they should join the Royal Academy. I meant the 2 academies should exchange students. Teacher Qin, should there be any issue, I can speak to the Spirit Hall. Qin Ming was taken aback, unsure how to respond. Flender also stared at the master, wondering what he was planning. But he trusted his old friend's principles. Qin Ming thought for a moment, exchanging with Shrek students would be an honor for the Royal Academy. But I worry. The master interrupted, Do you worry that these outstanding students might not return once they join the Royal Academy? Being read like an open book was uncomfortable, but Qin Ming nodded, yes. The Royal Academy, though prestigious, hasn't produced many strong spirit masters recently. The leadership is eager for talent. If these students come, they might do everything to keep them. That would undermine Shrek. Flender laughed. Xiao Ming, you're loyal to Shrek. Master, Xiao Ming isn't an outsider. Speak plainly. The master glanced at Flender. Yeah, I am speaking plainly. Teacher Qin, as the Royal Academy, you have 2 spots for next year's grand event, right? I can let these children join as exchange students until after the event. This way, you can explain things. Qin Ming was shocked. Master, do you mean they should represent the Royal Academy? But the Academy would claim them as their own. The master smiled. Having another alma mater isn't a bad thing. No, I disagree. Flender slammed the table. These kids belong to Shrek. Master, don't forget, Shrek is my 20 years of hard work. The master remained calm. Flender, answer a few questions. If you can solve them, they need not go. First, can you provide them with a simulated cultivation environment? Second, can you give them the qualification for the Continental Spirit Master Academy Elite Tournament? Third, why do you think entering the Royal Academy means they don't belong to Shrek? You may not understand why I'm doing this, but I'll ask you one last question. What's the purpose of founding Shrek Academy? Flender was speechless. The anger faded, replaced by helplessness. The master continued, a simulated cultivation environment can accelerate their spirit power growth. The elite tournament only accepts formal academies after preliminary rounds. Shrek isn't registered with any kingdom or empire due to lack of infrastructure. Though known among spirit masters, this doesn't grant qualification. You know the tournament rewards, vital for these kids. You founded Shrek to train genius spirit masters and shock the spirit master world. My plan gives them the best path. And I haven't finished. He turned to Qin Ming. If they join the Royal Academy, there's a condition. The Academy must accept all Shrek teachers and let us educate the kids. The Royal Academy can't interfere. They can earn the Academy's honor, but we handle their training. When we want to leave, the Academy can't stop us. Flander sat back down, picked up a large mug of ale in front of him, and drank it down in big gulps. Qin Ming smiled wryly and said to the Grandmaster, Grandmaster, you've really given me a tough problem. Frankly speaking, from the perspective of Heaven Do Imperial Academy, having our junior students represent the Academy in battle would undoubtedly bring immense honor. It would make the Academy famous, and the conditions you've proposed are not excessive. All the teachers are renowned figures in the Soul Master world, and the Academy would never refuse. They would provide the best remuneration. However, Shrek Academy is Flander's heart and soul. If we really did this, then in the future... Enough, let's do as Xiaojiang said. Flander stood up again, his face now completely calm. Xiaojiang is right, I shouldn't just consider my own pride. Everything should be for the children's benefit. Heaven Do Imperial Academy belongs to the Heaven Do Empire's royal family, and is one of the few places not interfered with by the Spirit Hall. The children won't suffer there, and the current teachers at Shrek can also have a place to retire. I've always been thinking about my own ideas, but everyone has been following me all this time. Now that we're old, it's time to find a home for everyone. Heaven Do Imperial Academy seems to have a good reputation. Besides, the children can develop better there. This matter is settled. You all discuss it. Xiaojiang and Zhao Wuji will represent me fully. I want to be alone for a while. After saying this, Flander turned and walked outside. Zhao Wuji glanced at Ma Hongjun, who immediately understood. Ignoring the delicious dishes being served, he hurried after Flander. At this moment, as Flander's disciple, he could provide more comfort than the Grandmaster and Zhao Wuji. The Grandmaster sighed. Flander is stubborn, but he's not unreasonable. I believe he will come around. Zhao Wuji smiled bitterly. After all, the academy has been our support for so many years. Flander understands the benefits of your suggestion, even though he decided to close the academy after these children graduate. But now that the time has come, it's hard for him to accept. For us, it's a bit sudden. We've lived here for 20 years. The Grandmaster nodded. This is something he has to work through himself. Zhao Wuji said, maybe for us, this is the best home. Grandmaster, thank you. I know your suggestion isn't just for the children, but also for Flander and us. Heaven Do Imperial Academy is one of the few places not influenced by the Spirit Hall and has a good name. You are trying to save Flander's face. It's not a bad place to retire. With a faint smile, Zhao Wuji's expression relaxed a lot. Unlike Flander, he wasn't so proud and stubborn. Although he would miss the 20 years at Shrek Academy, he also felt a bit tired. A change of environment might not be a bad thing. In this matter, the Shrek 7 monsters had no say. Except for Ma Hongjun, who went after Flander, the remaining 6 looked at each other. This sudden change dampened their joy from their victory, and they even lost their appetite. Standing at the hotel entrance, Flander looked up at the starry night sky and said softly, why did you come out? Go back and eat. Ma Hongjuan's usual mischievous smile was gone, and he stood respectfully beside Flander. Teacher, don't be sad. Flander shook his head. I'm not sad, just a bit disappointed. It all happened so quickly. Hongjun, I've noticed that your problem with your evil fire seems to have lessened with the Grandmaster's training. What's going on? Hearing his teacher mention his evil fire, Ma Hongjuan's smile reappeared, and he scratched his head. I don't know. It's just that I've been so tired recently, it seems all my energy is used up, and I don't have time to think about those things. Flander smiled faintly. That's a good sign. Your martial spirit is subtly changing. Maybe soon, you won't be troubled by it anymore. All right, go back. No need to persuade me. I just want to be alone. Ma Hongjun blinked and rubbed his chubby face. Teacher, it's just like borrowing a chicken to lay eggs. Honestly, I don't understand why you're upset. Borrowing a chicken to lay eggs? Flander turned back to look at his disciple, surprised by his words. Ma Hongjun quickly nodded. Yes, we're just using the facilities of Heaven Do Imperial Academy to help us train. And we're paying them by fighting for them. I don't know about others, but I won't feel like I belong to that academy. I'll always be your disciple, the evil fire phoenix of Shrek. Flander stared at Ma Hongjun. Although the analogy was crude, it seemed to open a door in his mind. Borrowing a chicken to lay eggs? Yes, borrowing a chicken to lay eggs. It seems I've been too stubborn. Whether sooner or later, Shrek will eventually end, but what we've left behind will never change. Xiaozheng, thank you for helping me conclude Shrek's story. The next morning, the Shrek Academy group checked out of the hotel, ending their month-long second phase of training. Physically, this phase wasn't as extreme as the first, but mentally it was more exhausting for the Shrek 7 monsters. Facing different opponents every day, striving for victory, dealing with strong enemies, and working with their partners, these real battles were different from sparring. The practical experience highlighted the results of their first phase of intense training. Their endurance, resilience, and recovery had improved significantly. Otherwise, they couldn't sustain the high-intensity daily battles. Especially those who fought in 3 matches a day fully utilized the results of their initial training. The Grandmaster's training included not only foundational and practical training, but also another important aspect: sustained combat ability. Returning to the familiar small village, it lacked the hustle and bustle of Soto City, but also its noise. The feeling of home was so comforting. For the Shrek 7 monsters, Shrek Academy had long become a home. Flander's mood had returned to normal. Even Zhao Wuji, who had followed him for 20 years, didn't expect him to come around so quickly. Flander had decided to follow the Grandmaster's plan. How they would join the Imperial Academy and what would happen next was up to Qin Ming. Everyone, go rest. You've worked hard during this time. Zhao Wuji, gather everyone. Flander began giving orders as soon as they returned to the academy. Shrek wasn't just his, it included the other 3 teachers, whose opinions he needed. As soon as Oscar got back to the dorm, he ignored the month's accumulation of dust on his bed and fell onto it. It's so comfortable to be back. Xiao-san, don't wake me. I'm going to sleep until I wake up naturally. Tang-san watched Oscar's starfish position and shook his head with a smile. Without someone pushing him to train, his lazy nature might have wasted his outstanding martial spirit. According to the plan discussed by the Grandmaster and Qin Ming, the Shrek Academy group would go to Heaven Do Imperial Academy as exchange students in 2 months. In the meantime, Qin Ming would handle matters at the Imperial Academy. Shrek Academy also needed to tie up some loose ends. The Grandmaster wasn't in a hurry to start the 3rd phase of trials. Before leaving Soto City, he gave the Shrek 7 monsters a simple task. Over the next 2 months, first, handle their own matters. Second, fully digest the practical experience gained from the past month's battles. These 2 months would also be a period of intense soul power training. The Grandmaster required that, except for necessary matters, everyone must focus on cultivating their soul power. Oscar soon fell asleep, but Tang-san was thinking about his tasks. With 2 months left, he needed to handle some things, especially the promise he made to Ning Rongrong. A promise is a promise, and he needed to fulfill it. With this in mind, Tang-san left the dorm and headed to Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu's dorm. So tired. Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu were lying on their beds, having taken off their outerwear. Unlike Oscar, they wouldn't neglect their appearance. Their beds had new sheets and bedding. Xiao Wu said, yes, I didn't feel it while we were fighting every day in Soto, but coming back, I feel so exhausted. This must be what the Grandmaster called the fatigue period. Rongrong, your skin is so nice. Even I want to drool. Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu were wearing short tops and shorts, lying on their beds with their arms and legs exposed. Ning Rongrong's skin was indeed excellent. Among the 3 girls of the Shrek 7 Devils, her skin was as smooth and tender as a lychee, something both Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing envied greatly. There wasn't a single blemish on her fair skin, and the delicate, translucent quality made it look like flawless white jade. Though they were still in the process of developing, girls generally matured earlier than boys, and their young figures were already taking shape. Of course, in terms of development, Zhu Zhuqing was clearly the best among the 3 girls. Ning Rongrong giggled and stared at Xiao Wu with wide eyes. You're great too. I'm pale white, and you're a rosy white. It makes me look less healthy than you. Xiao Wu's body proportions were a bit different from the average person, with particularly long legs. Typically, the golden ratio for thigh length to height is about 62%, but Xiao Wu's ratio was over 65%. Despite this, it didn't look awkward at all, but rather harmonious. Her slightly long legs were straight and taut, with skin equally tender. Although not as white as Ning Rongrong's, her skin had a hint of pink, especially towards her slim waist, which highlighted her perfect curves from her petite waist down to her hips. Even Ning Rongrong couldn't help but gulp when she looked at Xiao Wu's long legs exposed beneath her hot shorts. Adding to her perfect figure was Xiao Wu's long scorpion braid, reaching the ground, giving her a delicate and charming girl next door vibe. Of course, if anyone really treated her like the girl next door, they might end up like that perverted uncle from before, whose unhappy ending might replay. Ning Rongrong lowered her voice. Xiao Wu, why aren't we as well endowed as Zhu Qing? I'm really envious of her. As she spoke, Ning Rongrong lightly rubbed her own chest with her hands. Xiao Wu blushed and spat softly. You need to ask her that. How would I know? Is having a big chest really that great? Conversations in the girls' dormitory were often more intense than those in the boys' dormitory. Ning Rongrong chuckled. How could it not be? I heard back at my clan that men prefer women with bigger chests. Maybe we're just too young. You see how Boss Dai chases Niuqing every day, probably because of her chest. Xiao Wu burst out laughing. You know a lot, don't you? Doesn't Oscar chase after you every day too? Ning Rongrong stuck out her tongue. Actually, little Ao is quite nice, but... She sighed, her expression becoming a bit odd. But what? Xiao Wu asked curiously. Ning Rongrong shook her head gently. There's a rule in my clan. Direct members cannot marry auxiliary-type soul masters. It's a safety measure. Generally, our clan members marry battle soul masters, as the protection from a loved one is more reliable. Since little Ao is an auxiliary-type soul master, it's impossible between us. Xiao Wu suddenly understood. EIC. Well, it's better to tell Oscar sooner, so he doesn't keep his hopes up. Ning Rongrong seemed lost in thought for a moment, then forced a smile. Enough about me. I'm really envious of you and Tang San. Her expression turned mysterious. I heard that massaging your chest helps it grow. Maybe you should let Tang San help you. Rongrong, you're so perverted. Xiao Wu blushed. Who told you that? Ning Rongrong giggled. The sisters in my clan. I overheard them chatting. It should be true. Xiao Wu glared at her. Don't talk nonsense. Tang San and I are siblings. How could we? It's so embarrassing. Ning Rongrong sat up on the bed. I see it more like brother and sister-in-law. You're not related by blood. Ask anyone, and they'll tell you no one sees you as siblings. You're practically Tang San's exclusive. Didn't you see how worried he was for you? When you were taken by the Titan giant ape, he almost lost it. If you hadn't returned, who knows what he would have done. Even Zhu Qing said she'd be satisfied if Dai Mubai cared for her as Tang San does for you. Xiao Wu said, Rongrong, did Zhu Qing ever say what her relationship with Dai Mubai is? Why is Boss Dai so special to her? Ever since we joined the academy, it's been like that. You're very pretty too, but Boss Dai never showed interest. Ning Rongrong stuck out her tongue. I don't know. I asked, but Zhu Qing wouldn't say. She just said they knew each other from before. Maybe they were childhood friends. Xiao Wu shook her head, remembering how when she and Tang San first came to the academy, Dai Mubai didn't seem to recognize Zhu Qing and just mentioned the possibility of them having a martial soul fusion technique. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. Ning Rongrong asked, who is it? It's me, Tang San. It's your Tang San. Ning Rongrong hurriedly put on her coat in a panic. Xiao Wu was also startled, but not as quick as Ning Rongrong. By the time Ning Rongrong opened the door, Xiao Wu had just managed to get her clothes on properly. Walking into the girls' dormitory, Tang San felt somewhat awkward. What puzzled him more was the strange look in Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu's eyes. What's going on? Why are you looking at me like that? Tang San asked in confusion. Well, it's because... Ning Rongrong started to say, but Xiao Wu, with a blushing face, quickly covered her mouth, glaring at her threateningly, her heart pounding as she recalled Ning Rongrong's earlier words, making her chest feel numb. Tang San didn't understand the girl's thoughts and didn't know they were discussing intimate secrets. He felt awkward and out of place. If he didn't have something important to say, he might have left the dormitory right away. Ning Rongrong nodded repeatedly, indicating she wouldn't spill the beans. Xiao Wu then removed her hand from Ning Rongrong's mouth and stood in front of her, asking Tang San, Little San, why are you here? Tang San smiled. I'm here to see Rongrong. We have 2 months before going to Heaven Do Imperial Academy. I promised Rongrong to help her clan with mechanical hidden weapons. If we wait until we go to the academy, there won't be enough time. So I wanted to finalize things with her. Ning Rongrong then realized Tang San had come for her. "You little San, you gave me the Zhuge divine crossbow a few days ago. Only my father can decide on this matter. There's still enough time, so I'll ask Dean Flender for leave to go home. I think my father will agree." During the past month of participating in battles, they had successfully made 10 Zhuge divine crossbows, which Tang San had given to each of them. Thus, Tang San had successfully equipped everyone with mechanical hidden weapons. Tang San nodded. That's good. But will it be safe for you to go back alone?" Ning Rongrong giggled. It'll be safe. I know there are family guards around the academy. My father surely knows I'm here. He hasn't had me taken back, so he must approve of me studying here. There will be protection when I return. Tang San realized. That's reassuring. Rongrong, you remember how to use those hidden weapons, right? Be careful not to injure yourself, especially with the Zhuge divine crossbow. Its power is great, but it takes time to reload, so don't use it recklessly. Ning Rongrong smiled. I know. All right, I'll go find the dean now. My home is in 7 Treasure City, not far from Heaven Do City. I can go straight to the academy from home. Tang San said, In that case, you don't need to go now. We can talk about it when we reach the academy. But it's far from Soto City, and I'm not sure if we'll find a good blacksmith there." Ning Rongrong laughed. That's not a problem. My family has a blacksmith shop. If you don't mind revealing your hidden weapon secrets, our blacksmiths can make the parts. The craftsmanship will be flawless.